Within the Sangre de Cristo range and situated just east of Crestone Peak stands Crestone Needle. Both the peak and the needle are shown here from the top of neighboring 14er Kit Carson Peak to the northwest, with the towering pinnacle of the needle on the left. Here, the needle is shown from the summit of Crestone Peak, while these shots show it from various points to the southeast along the lower approach hike. These pictures show the south face of the mountain, which is ascended by the standard route, as seen from the upper approach not far above Broken Hand Pass. This footage shows the Sangre de Cristo range while going south on Highway 17 west of the range through the San Luis Valley, with the Crestones visible here, the peak on the left, and the needle on the right. These clips show the range from the east from the Wet Mountain Valley going west on Highway 96. The Crestones derive their name from a Spanish word referring to the crest of a helmet, a rooster's comb, or an outcropping of ore, a term which aptly describes the jagged upper reaches of the peaks. With a name like Crestone Needle, you would indeed expect this mountain to be fairly difficult to climb, which it is. And actually, the Crestones were the last Colorado 14ers to have recorded climbs made of them, with the needle itself being the last, a feat that was accomplished in July of 1916 by a party that included early Colorado mountaineering pioneer Albert Ellingwood. For more information about the history of the Sangre de Cristo range, the naming of the Crestones, the lost gold legend of Marble Cave, as well as the nearby towns of Westcliffe and Silvercliff, see my video on Crestone Peak, to which I will put a link. This was my first time climbing Crestone Needle, almost exactly 1 year after I climbed Crestone Peak. These are the directions to reach the South Colony trailhead. As the upper road is quite rough, low clearance vehicles should definitely park at the lower trailhead. Starting from the lower trailhead, the endurance stats for this route are high, while from the upper trailhead they are more mid-range. On this occasion, I was once again able to make it to the upper trailhead by vehicle. This route involves Class 3 climbing at minimum, and possibly Class 4 depending on which way you go on the final stretches of the south face, which I will discuss later in this video. For more footage and explanation of the lower approach hike, shown here in red, again you can see my video on Crestone Peak. First, you go up the remainder of the road to a point above 11,000 feet. Then from there, the path takes over and brings you past Lower South Colony Lake, and then finally up Class 3 Broken Hand Pass to reach almost about 12,900 feet. This is where the routes to the peak and the needle diverge, and where I will pick up the narrative. Anyway, enjoy the footage. To begin the stretch up toward Crestone Needle itself. It's going to take me over towards the south face. Let me get started. Looks like you head up into this. I see a cairn up there. You know, these conglomerate rock knobs are actually really solid and good to climb on when they're not mixed in with all that loose stuff like they are on Broken Hand Pass. And so far on this stretch just after the pass, it's pretty gradual elevation gain so far. Getting a little steeper here. This path is pretty easy to discern so far, and like I said, definitely got steeper. Much more pleasant than the way up Broken Hand Pass, though, I'll tell you that. If I could take the turn right here.
like it veers over to the left. Okay. Now this I was told about. You have to go down this and then down to that area right there, and then, as I understand it, continue from there down a little bit further even to the left, and then eventually down there you reach the bottom part, or the entry point, where you enter into the east gully of the south face. You see right there, south face. It's gonna be fun. Right now I'm gonna go down this little pitch here. Looks pretty non-trivial, but again, this knobby stuff is pretty nice. Provides good holds and it's pretty solid. You know, I think I'm going to actually, I'm going to start off going down forwards, and then if I have to turn around, then I will. Yeah, I think I'm going to, rather than continue straight down that way, I'm going to kind of veer over to the right here. Try to end up on that block right there. I have to face in, I think. Find some footholds here. Yeah, I can reach the block with my foot. And there's you're looking at that pitch right there. That cairn where I came from. Down a little ways, across a little ways, and then down to there. And continue down here. And this area is a little bit loose again. Okay, and as I understand it, this is the point where you enter into this east gully here. So I'm about to start up the east gully. I'm at about 13.3 right now, and it's important that I remember this location, kind of with this little tower right here. So when I come back down the gully later on, I remember to turn left back onto this path that I came from, so I get back to the right place. And so now let's tackle this. From what I looked at, it looks like you're kind of supposed to go up more toward the right side, and then eventually up there you angle a little bit more over to the left. But I'm going to just start up and see where it kind of takes me. And obviously you want to avoid water. Doesn't look like, from what I can tell, there's really all that much of it. And some nice knobs. So to the left, to this big rock here, or to the right. I'm going to try the right, but to the right of that running water. The left side of the water looks pretty steep. And it looks like either side here. Try the left. This is fairly steep right here, but again, pretty solid. Continue on this side. Go around there, or up this, I just go up it. This is another steep, knobby portion, but I don't think it's too steep to make it. Yeah, gonna take a little break. All right, so I'm gonna continue up the East Gully. I think at this point I'm going to, I don't know, maybe go up this way a little farther. Well, I need to get over to the left here. So start doing that right here, I think. Probably should have done it down there. Not to worry. Well, I'm up here close to 13.5 now, and I've reached the point in the East Gully where it now consists of this large crack running up the middle of it, and my understanding is somewhere in the vicinity of the bottom of the crack you have to leave the East Gully, cross over to the left into the West Gully, which offers a little bit easier climbing. I'm going to proceed up a little bit farther and see if that is up here, a little ways up here. Yeah, I think it must be a little bit farther up.
So as I said at the beginning, it is possible to continue on up the East Gully to reach the summit ridge, in which case you would climb up the solid Class 4 stretch of rock shown here to the right of the crack. But since I opted for the crossover to the West Gully, I continued up the East Gully and actually arrived here at the optimal point for crossing onto the rib to head over to the West Gully. This point is noticeable by the distinctive overhanging rock to the left of the screen, accompanied by the passable notch to its right. However, not realizing I was at this point and thinking I had gone up too far, I went back down a ways before finally coming back up.
I'm going to attempt to cross the crack right here. Okay. I'm gonna head up the rib. Well, I'm gonna head over here. I'm told the crux of this route is crossing the East Gully and then making your way across the rib to the West Gully. And it does seem pretty cruxy so far. Pretty steep, pretty solid rock though. Huh. Go up that or go around here a bit. Looks like that would have been possibly a good pathway to get up here. I don't know. I'm going to try traversing across this little ledgy stretch right here. Continue up. I want to get up here and see what's on the other side. Kind of a stop ascending this side. Get to the other side, hopefully. Step over here for a second. You know, I think the West Gully is on the other side. This little notch right here. Yeah. But I can't get through exactly at this point. Maybe down through here. Okay, you can see how the West Gully continues downward. I'm going to go ahead and enter into it right here. I think I'm going to make my way up and over simultaneously where I actually get into it. Up here. Yeah, here we go. And my understanding is the rest of the way that you have to spend in this West Gully pretty straightforward. looks a little more gradual, a little less involved than the East Gully. Possibly a little looser, but it's all right. All right, remember that spot for the descent. You'll see that cairn down there on the left. I'm going to continue up the West Gully. So, although this West Gully is not, I don't think it's as technical as the East Gully, and maybe not quite as steep on average, it is still quite steep, as you can see. Definitely more than steep enough to be very grueling. I believe I'm coming to the top of it though pretty quickly here. It's also an incredibly nice day. Pretty still, sunny. All right, so looks like I've reached the top of the West Gully up here. I'm at about 14,000, and the two gullies, east and west, kind of merge up here at this location. And from here, looks like I proceed more or less in the same direction up this incline. Alright, so like I said, I'm here at about 14,000, having reached the top of the West Gully, and now, or at least almost 14,000 I think, and the next stage is to go up this incline. It looks like the steepness doesn't really relent. This is one steep mountain, I'll tell you that. Continuing up this steep portion. And doesn't this part look like even more fun? This is even steeper. Again, though, the rock is really good. If this were loose, it would be an absolute nightmare. But as it is, not too bad. Yeah, I think I better come down the left side of that. So it looks like I am reaching the end of that incline, steep incline. Yeah. So I'm at about 14.1 now. I'm gonna follow this stretch up to the summit ridge here. I'm gonna follow the top around to the summit there, I think. Now, well, this isn't exactly straightforward either, but hey, it might as well be a climby finish too. What do you say? What do you know? Made it to the top of Crestone Needle. Not gonna lie, I had to work for that one. Quite an adventure, I'll tell you that. Alright, I'm starting the descent now, and I'm just going to go ahead and say that probably out of all the 14ers I've climbed, I feel like this is going to be the descent where it is most important to be directionally mindful, let's say. There is a lot of key points that I don't want to miss. Coming around the final summit ridge right now. And heading back down the upper part of that final steep incline. I don't remember this little wall that I climbed up on that steep incline on the way up, but if you remember me saying, I'm going to go back down the other side, and that's what I'm going to go ahead and do right here. Easier. Alright, now I'm on my way down the lower and slightly less steep part of that upper incline here. Be careful. And the rock is solid, but pretty steep area. Alright, I'm still going down the west gully here. Before too long, I'm going to be looking for that area where I'm going to want to turn left in order to cross back over to the east gully. Back to the east gully to the left. I can show you, see right here, you see this little cairn right there, perched up there, is where I emerged when I got over here. At least that's the point that worked for me. So I'm going to head over there now and back up through the crux. And coming down that west gully, it was pretty steep, but at no point did it compel me to face inward, just outward. I did have to crouch down a few times though on it. Down climb this right here, and this could be a little tricky. See what I can do. So far, all right. There's the east gully. Try heading back down that. Again, pretty steep. Good rock though. Very handhold heavy. Traverse over this little ledgy part and get back across the crevice onto the other side without falling into that crack. So we're going to face inward on this one. You know what? I might just jump onto that rock down there. You know. There we go. Now back to the other side. Go up here. And I'm back in the East Gully. Get my way down the East Gully and back to that path at the bottom of the south face. Still coming down the East Gully. And again, I haven't really been compelled to face inward or anything at all. Just going down this mostly solid rock. And oftentimes stuff like this is a little more precarious going down. And hopefully you remember this rock from earlier. This is where you enter into the East Gully, and therefore descending, this is where I will turn to the left and head back onto the approach trail, which will lead me back to Broken Hand Pass. And if you recall, first you got to go up this incline and then deal with that little class 3 wall a little ways up here. Alright, I'm coming back up to a little wall that I had to descend on the way up, and I expect this is going to be a little bit easier going back, ascending it. Head up this little ramp on the left here, come over to the cross over the crack, grab onto these, over here, back up toward this little notch. And yeah, definitely easier coming back.
It took me roughly 8.5 hours to reach the top of Crestone Needle from the upper trailhead and make it back again, which as always includes the fumblings of documentation, with about 4.5 hours of that for the ascent. This mountain was one of the bigger challenges I've faced technically and navigationally. On this occasion, as you recall, I chose to do the east to west gully crossover variation, which, though a bit more complicated, makes for a slightly easier climb. And for my first time on a challenging mountain like this, I'm all about using the easiest established route. But if I'm ever on this peak again, I will probably try out the upper east gully variation. There seems to be some difference of opinion in the information I've seen as to whether it's harder to climb the peak or the needle. Both involve Class 3 climbing on fairly steep, rugged, navigationally challenging terrain, but for me, the significantly greater endurance stats and the looseness on the upper route make the peak the more difficult of the two. Indeed, the solid nature of the rock on most of the route up the needle makes a huge difference. However, it should be noted that the presence of significant water, snow, or ice on the route would definitely present a more precarious scenario and likely necessitate additional equipment. Finally, hopefully someday I can make it back here and attempt the traverse between the two peaks. And plus, I have yet to climb Humboldt. Anyway, thanks for watching and see you on the next mountain.
The destination for the day, Crestone Needle. Looks like a pretty formidable task, I have to say.